There we go. Oh man. Oh man. We got lucky today. What's up, guys? It's Kictor, and welcome back to another TGCF read through. Let's see who we got in here in the chat today. We got Sugar Kiss. Sugar Kiss, how was the TGCF event you went to? Did you get to see Howard and James? That's so exciting. Everyone in the chat is talking about spiders. Why are we talking about spiders? I see Perp Nerp said, I see TGCF, I click. Words to live by, truly. We got Aria's drawing, Little Patat, Vera, Amelia Pond, Annika, Rosita, Arwin, Tyler, Ash, Yee, Looking for Stays, Weird T, Bellawin, Jung Rulian, CSZL, Moaday, Horror Girl, Danielle Romantic Woman, and Emma, and Braley, and Moss. What's up, everybody? I don't know, everyone's chatting, saying there's spiders in the chat. Hello, Esper Lady. RA says, because 2 spiders decided to show up on my desk today. Oh, that is horrifying. Oh, I hate that. Hate that. Oh my gosh. Ed Edit Stuff says, hi, Kick to remember me. I do. What's up? How's it going? Braley says, working on Ferret Leon for P-Town. Hell yeah. Oh, hell yeah. Quinn says, no sound. I'm pretty sure there is sound, though. There wasn't sound at the beginning, right? But there's sound now. Sugar Kiss says, they were super chill. I asked them about my mysterious photo cards, and they remembered them. It was during the pop-up for the employees. Also, Howard remembered you when I mentioned you. Oh, that's so sweet. Oh my god. That's so nice of you to mention me. Oh my gosh. Thank you. Kate, I literally just texted you. Kate says, not sure how long I'll stay. I had a pretty bad, no, would appreciate some good vibes. Oh my god, sending you all the good vibes, Kate. I hope you're okay. Oh my god, Kate, I'm so sorry to hear that. I'll give you the biggest hug. I'm sorry that you're not having a good day, Kate. I hope that it can turn around. Everyone give Kate good vibes in the chat. Everyone give Kate hugs in the chat. We love you, Kate. I hope that you can feel better. I'm sorry that whatever happened. Local Rogue says, so stoked to tune in for real this time. Finally caught up. Oh, hell yeah. Hell yeah. That's awesome. Did you see that, like, was it yesterday? It was like National Phoenix got hit by a car day. Big fan, big fan. Short King Boo, what's up? Esper Lady says, I saw a Phoenix Wright cosplayer at the con I went to Saturday. Oh, that's awesome. Oh my god, that's so cool. Oh, fuck, Kate. No. Oh, no, that's so sad, Kate. I'm so sorry. Oh my god, that is the absolute worst thing in the world. I'm so sorry, Kate. Oh my god. Oh, I'm really sorry to hear that. That's so upsetting. I'm giving you a big, I'm getting up. I'm giving you a bigger hug. I'm sorry, Kate. That's so sad. I'm so sorry. Yes, everybody be sure to send lots of very good vibes to Kate. Local Rogue says, I did. Possibly the funniest Apollo Justice event this year. Yes, I saw a meme that was like, it was like some screenshot from another tweet that was about, like, yes, this. The car crash that made me question my sexuality. Am I gay? And it's like, that's Phoenix Wright today. Today, I spent pretty much, what I do this morning, pretty much all day editing the Golden Terrace video. And I also watched like 7 episodes of that new anime, the like sharing cigarettes behind the grocery store with you. Has anyone else watched that? It's pretty cute. The guy looks like Phoenix Wright if you gave him all of Edgeworth's trauma and eyebrows. Hell yeah, Kate. I'm here to give you all the Gaga cream to distract you. Yeah, Kate, you can have the first lick. Old Danmei fan says, I am beefing with Phoenix Wright because he is going up against Wei Qingyuan in the M-Preg bracket on Tumblr right now. Oh my god. Oh my god. Kiara says, I don't think Hua Chung would approve of sharing Gaga cream. Only with Kate. Only with Kate, I think. Local Rogue says, we lost Edgeworth in the sexy man poll. No! Oh my god, what's the fucking point? Who's in the sexy man poll now? What's the frickin' point? That makes my stomach hurt. Smoking behind the supermarket with you. Yes, yes. I'm at the part where her boss got involved. Quinn says, did you see that Billy released a pic of the Cave of 1,000 Gods for the 9-year anniversary for TGCF? Yes, I did. I did. We get to see Hua Chung's Gooner Cave. Oh my gosh. Let me see if I can pull that up to share with you guys. And thank you for being a member for 17 months, Quinn. Let me see my bookmarks. Where did that go? Not prepared cost. Thank you for being a member for 17 months. It says almost 10 years of TGCF is crazy. It is crazy. It is crazy. Yeah, also Bear, yes, I will update the title names for the streams so you can catch up. The Gooner Cave, you know. We'll get there. Man, I swear to God I saved that picture. Where the hell did it go? Hey, Kit Po. Oh, I'm sorry you have a fever. That sucks. I hope that you get better soon. Okay, I'm close. I can taste it. There we go. There we go. There we go. There we go. That's not... That is not correct. This. There! They uploaded this picture. So you can see all the little crown princes that he carved while he was in Mount Tonglu. And we're just about to get to the Tonglu arc. Well, kind of. But that's pretty cool, hey? Is that what you guys were picturing in your mind? And then there's the fucking giant one. I want to see the sexy one. Where's the sexy one? Pretty cool, pretty cool. Stupid author, stupid novel says, I'm gonna help my dad move furniture like a big, strong man. Hell yeah. Do you guys ever remember, did this ever happen to you in like elementary school? Your teacher was like, I need like a strong boy to come and help move the chairs. And I was always like, why not me? I'm stronger than all these stupid boys. I wanted to help move the chairs. Now I'm like, I'm not doing shit. I'll throw my back out. Just kidding. I'm very helpful and strong and brave. Ooh, Denmay Reader. Looks like you got a lot on your plate. P-Town and P's in the chat. Oh, yeah. You're right. Local Rogue says that was absolutely me. I would barge in and pick up 5 chairs to assert dominance. Yes. Right? It's like I had to prove myself. Jaded Chaos says, nah, I was picturing all the statues being all over the room like a storage unit full of mannequins. Oh my god, that's great. That is great. It's like you just open the door, you're like, oh hell no, closing it. Brayley says, I miss Grim. I miss Grim. I love Grimmy. Oh my god, I want to see him. Ugh. That Peerless Cucumber says, I have to have a presentation tomorrow about a gay person. Chuanning anyone? Why is that sentence just so funny? Oh my god. Yeah, from Date with Death. Yeah. Moade says, I've carried a heavy cello since I was 6. I've done plenty of heavy lifting. Oh shit. That is a big instrument for a child. Did anyone get up to anything fun yesterday? Write any fanfics? Read anything good? Finish any books? Otherwise, we can jump right on into the reading. Ed says, I have a presentation about sexuality. I'm gonna explain the whole TGCF plot in 30 minutes to my classroom. Wish me luck. I have to present tomorrow. Oh my goodness. How is the plot of TGCF? Are you talking about gay love? Hi, Chuyo's girlfriend. Jade says, did nothing yesterday but currently listening while I do my makeup for an ARHA shoot. Oh, that's awesome. Have fun at your shoot. Or an ERA shoot. Either. Very cool. Emma says, I worked on my Hua Chung fan art. It's not done yet, but it's getting there. Oh, I'm excited to see it, Emma. I'm very excited. Oh yeah, let's jump into the community. Quinn says, I always imagined the Gooner Cave looking like the Terracotta Army. Oh, wow. So just, yeah, a lot in a line, and lines and lines. That's awesome. Thank you for donating, Quinn. And... oh, Local Rogue says, I'm also finishing my Justice for All epilogue fic. Oh, do tell me more about that. Do tell me. I'd love to hear more about that. Hit me up about that. Bear wants sea fish, right? Me too. Me too. I'd like to see that statue. Okay, let's see what we got in the community today. Scum Villain Whip update, trying to figure out the face currently. Ooh, very nice, very nice. Tyler says, here's what I got for my birthday. Ooh, some Alien Stage cards. Ooh, I like the Ivantil one. Ooh, very nice. That's super cute. Ooh, I like the Till one too. Oh, those are cool. Oh my gosh, you have an incredible alien stage shrine. Nice. Oh, I want this Till figure so bad. Ah, I've opened 2 blind boxes and not been able to get him. You're so lucky. That's awesome. Oh, Tyler, first one is my drawing, second one is the original. That's awesome. Oh my gosh. Very good, very good. Oh, damn. Very good cosplay horror girl. With the bloody dress. Wu Ming OC drawing I did today. His name is Jung Chi. Oh, he's just a little baby. That is very cute, very cute. Shui Yu. What is Shui Yu? Yisit Shui Yang and who? And oh, Mo Shan Yu. Interesting. Okay. Well, we got Shui Yu week going on. And RA is drawing. This is one little doodle of Arish from the bean counter. Very nice. Oh, very nice. Very nice. I love him. He's super sexy. And more doodles from RA's drawing with your OCs. Nice. So cute. I love that. I love the dichotomy between the chibi and the normal art. Chuya, I will refresh once I get to the bottom here, I promise. Carrot Tao says, do you like my chibi Modazushi drawing? Yes! Oh my god, he's so cute! Are you kidding me? And William's like, holy shit! That is so freaking cute. I love that. That is very, very cute. Stardust says, I got one of my fan arts turned into a magnet at a craft fair. Oh, that's cool! Oh my god, Hualien on your fridge. That's awesome. I also have Hualien on my fridge, actually. That is super cute. What a fun idea, Stardust. Oh, very nice, horror girl. That's awesome. Oh my god, great cosplays. That's awesome. Like how you got Shaylian's necklace. Lemon has some sketches of Hua Cheng you made earlier. Oh, how sweet. Look at him kicking his little leg. Very cute. Oh, I love how you drew his face here. That's so sweet. Oh, little Sun Long with his little crooked ponytail. Super cute. Spark Major! Hi, Spark Major! P-Town! Alright, I think we're caught up there. I'll refresh the page now. Ooh, Bearfish, my work in progress. High Kava art. Ooh, very nice, very nice. I know lots of people that like TGCF also like High Kava. And oh my god, Chuya. Ah! Oh my god. The Bowanning is real. Holy shit, that's a very good Bowser face. Good work. Incredible. RA is drawing which art? We saw a couple of yours. It's a sign. Now you have to make Wanning. Yes. That's awesome. And you're working on Hua Cheng's necklace. That's wicked, horror girl. Mirai says, my brother is voluntarily watching TGCF. It took a few years, but I can finally drag him into the down my hole. Wonderful. That is wonderful. Chuya, I will make Chuanning for sure. Ooh, Leo, that's fun. I've never dyed anybody's hair before. I've also never dyed my own hair. Bowanning and Squid Shay are beloveds, yes. Hello, evil Tetris Master. I'm sorry that you're sick. Haha. RA says it was down below, but it didn't show up, but it shows up on the community on my end. What? What was it of? Orion says, I love the kickflip specific crack ships. Yes, me too. Me too. Who knows what'll happen next? Yeah, I'm sorry that sometimes the community seems to, eat the art. But, shall we jump in? We gotta jump in. It's Gaga time. We're on chapter 77. Gaga time. Oh man, I have to sneeze. Sneezing time. No, it's gone away. I have not watched The Amazing Digital Circus, but I've seen lots of people cosplaying from it at cons. Good time. Good time. Okay. Oh, CSCL coming in with a recap. Thank you so much, CSCL. Recap. Function has history with Jan Lan. Could he be the father? Shailian lists Mooching's qualities and wonders why Function says his general wouldn't accept his help. Junwoo interrupts a Hwa-Chung Shailian playful moment at Puchi Shrine. Laugh or cry counter 26.5. I think they were at an inn somewhere. In like the middle of nowhere, right? Because they were like on the run. They were at Chirong's inn. And then they were at another inn. Because I think Puchi Shrine got... Did it get demolished, I think? Gaga cream factory time. Well, there's no Gaga cream just yet. Oh, damn, RA. I see. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. I see. I'll show it really quickly. Ah! Very sexy. Very sexy. I hope YouTube... Hey, we got 2 neck kisses back to back on my community right now. Kate says, don't worry, Gaga cream happens in the extras. It does, canonically. It's not even a joke. It is integral to the plot. I'm not even kidding, and it is exactly what you think it is. Horror Girl, I thought your Shailian wig looked perfect. It looks awesome. Local Rogue says, hello? I'm not joking. I'm literally not joking. This is written by MXTX. Plot relevant Gaga cream. That's right. Okay, gotta get there first. Okay, chapter 77. Gates open to Mount Tonglu, the mass gathering of ghosts. I really like this part because we feel like we get more insight into like what Hwa-Chung had to go through, you know? Shailian and Hwa-Chung began their journey the next day. Hwa-Chung held Shailian's hand as they walked. Gaga, next time you see Junwoo, don't talk to him. Turn and run away. That's great advice, honestly. Shailian was puzzled. Why? I just know that whenever he comes looking for you, it's never for anything good, Hwa-Chung said. Shailian laughed. What do you mean? He didn't even assign me this mission originally. However, Hwa-Chung said, it's all the same in the end, whether you're going to Mount Tonglu or helping him manage the upper court. Neither are good assignments. The upper court is in complete shambles. Might as well let it fall apart. What does he mean by dropping that mess in your lap? You're just choosing between suicide by saber or suicide by sword. Shailian couldn't help but laugh, but once he finished, he said soberly, Still, I never expected you to volunteer to accompany me to Mount Tonglu. I've been thinking for a while, and I feel this should be said. Sanlang, please don't force yourself to do this. As if Hwa-Chung's forcing himself to do this. Kiara says, yeah, just ignore your boss. He suspected that Hwa-Chung had only volunteered to come because he knew he suspected that Hwa-Chung had only volunteered to come because he knew what was going through Shailian's head. Specifically, that Shailian felt it'd be much more gratifying to fight to his heart's content, locked inside an oven, than to get stuck ineptly managing the upper court. Yeah, Shalian's like, ultimate battle simulator? Let's fucking go! But Hua Cheng replied, Gaga, I've already repeatedly sworn that I'm not forcing myself. Do you not believe me? It's not that, of course, Shalian said. Hua Cheng nodded. Then just relax, Gaga. I know my limits. You shouldn't feel like you owe me anything. Even just from my own perspective, I wouldn't mind stuffing the new Ghost King back in before it's born. Orion says, quit your job and become my boyfriend. Yes. Both the Ghost Kings and the Heavens benefited from the way things were, but there was only so much rice and everyone wanted a bite. There already wasn't enough to go around, which caused friction at times. No one wanted to let someone new barge in and share the pot. And if this new addition had an extreme personality, they'd all be left with nothing to eat if and when they went mad. Junwoo had heard out Hua Cheng's suggestion and considered it seriously. Shalian taking up the mission alone wouldn't go as well as Junwoo handling it in person, but if Shalian was accompanied by a Ghost King who had once journeyed to Mount Tonglu, well, it would certainly tilt the odds in their favor. Of course, Hua Cheng wouldn't agree to help for free, and Junwoo agreed to these terms for his assistance. All of heaven must give Ghost City a wide berth until the time of Mount Tonglu's next opening, and additionally, the Heavenly Court must publicize Crimson Rain Sought Flower's heroic deeds and sing songs of praise for an entire year. Shalian tried to imagine how these songs would go. They would probably be something along the lines of, "Foolish heavenly officials, do you know who saved you?" This would practically be torture for the heavenly officials, who were already wary of Hua Cheng and had complicated feelings about him. He was all but stepping directly on their faces. Okay, the song thing is hilarious. Him being like, and you must praise me in sing-song. That's hilarious. Hua Cheng smiled. This journey will be much easier for you with me around. Pulling himself back to the present, Shalian replied, I still think we should set out after your period of aggravation is over, after you have returned to your normal self. You don't need to worry about that either. It'll be over soon, Hua Cheng assured. Ooh, thank you, Quinn, for donating. Quinn says there is an interesting pick in this chapter. Ooh, can't wait. Local Rogue says Hua Cheng musical theater major. Yeah, fucking literally. I mean, considering we already believe he also organized that play, he is quite theatrical, isn't he? Shalian was taken aback. Huh. What is it, Gaga? What's with that face? Hua Cheng questioned. Does that mean Sanlong's gonna grow up? Shalian said, dejection clear in his tone. Hua Cheng clasped his hands behind him. Yes, I've endured this for too long. I can't wait any longer. Just as he finished talking, Shalian slipped his hands under Hua Cheng's arms and lifted him. He raised him high in the air and laughed. It'll be such a shame. I won't be able to pick you up like this once you're grown again. I'd better hug you as much as I can right now. Ha ha ha. Dot, dot, dot. It's so cute. The teleportation array couldn't be used for the journey to Mount Tonglu, so they had to walk. Over a dozen days later, they finally left towns and signs of life behind them and entered a mountainous area covered with endless, lush green forest. There is a dozen days that we don't get to see of just Hualien walking together, being in love, being all silly, you know? Where's the fic that covers that stuff? As they walked deeper and deeper into the woods, they encountered more and more nefarious creatures. Their shapes and forms were bizarre, and the size of each swarm only grew larger. The path became more crowded as its pedestrians furtively hurried along. Shalian walked hand in hand with Hua Cheng. So many have come, he whispered. This gathering is certainly bigger than before. It's because the heavens didn't put up a blockade, so many who weren't planning on coming wound up doing so, Hua Cheng said. It wasn't just solo combatants. Many had come in groups. After a while, Shalian and Hua Cheng ran into a large group of ragged, disheveled-looking ghosts. They chanted as they marched with savage expressions on their faces. The universe is a crucible, and living creatures are the copper. Infinite adversities abide within the abyss of suffering. The universe is a crucible, and living creatures are the copper. Infinite adversaries abide within the abyss of suffering. They didn't seem afraid. In fact, they sounded eager. Hua Chung's expression grew frigid as he and Shalian listened to their chants. They don't even understand what they're saying, but they certainly say it louder than anybody else. Most of these nefarious creatures had never experienced this trial and didn't understand its cruelty. They thought becoming a supreme would be easy for them. They were filled with heroic aspiration, which brought understandable displeasure to anyone who did know what it was like. Ooh, Hua Chung is like, actually sucks in there a lot. Can they enter as a team? Shalian asked. Those teams are usually made up of individuals who already know each other. They plan to overcome the mountain together and swear beforehand to show each other mercy, but none of those promises will be kept. As you approach the mountain's heart, your strength increases with each opponent killed. Anyone spared leaves you with less chance to survive the kiln, and the easiest targets are often the ones who trust you and are closest to you. Damn. His brows knitted slightly, and he covered his right eye. It seemed there was another headache coming on. Concerned, Shalian quickly grasped him around the shoulders and pulled them both into the woods next to the road, then crouched low to better observe his condition. Sanlong, we're about to reach the mountains. Are you really sure you're all right? Easing his brow, Hua Chung replied, Don't worry, Gaga. Everything's fine. It'll be better soon. Hi, Miss Rosie. But how could Shalian stop worrying just because Hua Chung said to? Gaga, come closer, Hua Chung added. I have something to tell you. Shalian didn't know what he was planning, and he drew closer. Hua Chung cupped Shalian's face in his hands and lightly touched his forehead with his own. Shalian blinked, stunned. He waited until Hua Chung released him before asking for an explanation. Sanlong, what are you? Hua Chung smiled. Done. There are only ghosts here, and Gaga is a heavenly official. His scent will be very conspicuous. This will help cover it a little. So that was it. He was staining Shalian with his scent. Shalian couldn't help but remember how they had exchanged spiritual power and air. He was afraid Hua Chung would be reminded too and bring it up, so he quickly acknowledged his statement. All right, let's put on disguises. Naturally, they had to disguise themselves to blend in with the swarm of ghosts, but a simple cloak would do just fine. There were plenty of ghosts and monsters who liked to wear masks and cloaks, so it wouldn't seem odd. After getting into their costumes, Shalian took Hua Chung's hand in his own once more, and they slowly continued on their way. After a while, they heard the faint noise of a commotion on the road ahead. Unsure what was happening, Shalian asked, Is there some sort of landmark that tells you you've made it to Mount Tonglu territory? There are landmarks, Hua Chung answered, but don't trust them. Shalian was about to ask more questions, but the commotion ahead of them was growing louder. When the two left the forest, they found a large, dense crowd stuck before a steep bluff. There were at least 300 or 400 nefarious creatures present, but that number was only the tip of the iceberg for this particular assembly. Why is the road blocked? Did we go the wrong way? That can't be. Don't they say that any road will lead to Mount Tonglu? The crowd of ghosts was still mostly peaceful. Perhaps it was because they weren't yet within the boundaries of the Tonglu Mountains, and the slaughter hadn't officially begun. Shalian found a random ghost to the side and casually asked, What's going on over there? Are ya blind? The ghost yelled. There's a mountain in the way. We can't get through. ... Shalian took a look at the ghost next to him. Half of its head was sliced off. It was the blind one, but it wasn't his place to comment on that, so he asked instead, Can't we go around it? Several ghosts rushed over from around the bend, shouting with long tongues dangling from their mouths. What the hell? There's something weird about this mountain. We ran around for over half an hour and still saw no end to it, and then we had to run over an hour to get back. The ghost turned to Shalian. No. Can't we climb it or fly over it? Shalian questioned. As soon as he spoke, a large bird over 2 meters long fell from the sky and crashed into the ground with a heavy thud. It appeared to have died on the spot. Dead! A ghost cried out. That bird spirit died from exhaustion. All that effort, and it still couldn't fly over. The ghost turned to Shalian again. Nope. Hey, Brock. Shalian tried once more. Then can't we... But before he could finish asking his question, the ghosts all shushed him like they wished desperately to seal his mouth shut. Stop asking, you jinx! All right, Shalian complied. Hundreds of nefarious creatures were blocked by this unpassable, unscalable, uncrossable mountain bluff. Their voices buzzed in endless cacophony. "I get it," one exclaimed. "It's not a typical mountain. It's a barrier." "Everyone," another announced. "The outskirts of Mount Tonglu must be right beyond this mountain. This one is probably a trial which we must pass before reaching the other mountain. If we can't even pass a simple test like this, we shouldn't even consider trying our luck at what will come after, and we might as well just go home." "Wait!" "Wait what?" A puzzled voice spoke up. "Why do I smell something funny?" "What smell? You sure it's not that human meat you got with you? Maybe it went foul." No, it's not the smell of dead flesh. It's the smell of living humans," that voice said. No, that's not right either. It's almost like the smell of a heavenly official." The moment those words were spoken, noises of alarm rippled outward. The crowd of ghosts cried out, "What? You're shitting me! Why would there be a heavenly official here? Wait, I smell it too. How come I don't smell anything? Now that you're talking about it, I think I smell it too. Did a heavenly official sneak in? That's impossible. What heavenly official has the nerve to come to a place like this?" Spurred on by the calling voices, uproar flared in every direction. Shalian felt some trepidation, but his face didn't give anything away. Huacheng had helped him cover his scent earlier, so how was there still a smell? No one should have noticed him mixing in. Huacheng held his hand and whispered, "Gaga, be careful. Something is deliberately muddying the waters to create chaos." "It's also possible that some other heavenly official really has snuck in," Shalian said. The ghost who first mentioned the smell of humans jumped onto a boulder to give a speech. "Everyone! Maybe those godforsaken heavenly officials in the heavenly realm saw that they couldn't stop us on the road, so they sent people to Mount Tonglu to ruin our celebration. To help uncover who has a spiritual aura, I suggest that everyone remove any masks, cloaks, or heavy layers for the time being. Everyone, announce your titles one by one. Don't give them the chance to infiltrate the gathering and lurk among us." Among us. Another heavenly official's omega pheromones? More likely than you think. The crowd applauded the idea, and that ghost continued. "I'll go first. You may call me Demon of the Swift Life-Extinguishing Blade," referring specifically, of course, to the blade an executioner used for beheading. He only ever used this one blade to chop off heads. ... In Shalian's experience, the more blunt and exaggerated the title, especially ones that contained unparalleled, thousand hands, mighty, life-extinguishing, and so on, the easier the owner was to wipe out. It usually only took a single hit, or even 3 with one blow. Hundreds of titles were being noisily thrown out, and Shalian shook his head as he listened. Suddenly, a nearby ghost elbowed him. "Hey, haven't you stripped your cloak off yet? What are you?" The ghost didn't mean the latter question disrespectfully. If Shalian wasn't human, then he could only correctly be called a what. As for the ghost's former question, there were plenty of ghosts that hadn't removed their cloaks and masks. There was even one not far from Shalian, watching them with his arms crossed. However, Shalian was the one who had been called out first. Seeing that all eyes were on him, he accepted his own bad luck and took off his cloak. "I'm a puppet master," he said temperately. Are you guys ready? Are you ready for this scene? This is crazy. The ghosts surrounded him. "I see. No wonder you look so human. This is my first time seeing a puppet master." Shalian smiled without responding. Puppet masters were nefarious beings with very weak evil chi. They would experiment with different kinds of materials in order to create the perfect puppet. So it wasn't strange for them to be stained with different scents. Since they particularly fancied the skins of humans, human scent was usually the heaviest. The dream of all puppet masters was to steal hair from heavenly officials to use for wigs for their puppets, and some were even audacious enough to try their luck, so it also wouldn't be strange if he had the scent of a heavenly official on him. "Then where's your puppet?" a ghost asked. Shalian scanned the crowd, then bent and lifted Huacheng. The ghosts were in awe. "Wow, exquisite! What material did you use? Tisk, 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 it looks so real." "Feels like you're gonna be a tough competitor." How can you say it looks real? I think it looks pretty fake. Isn't its skin too pale? Why would a kid have such long eyelashes? Hua Cheng had his arms crossed and his face was expressionless, but there were still many lady ghosts whose unmoving hearts were struck by his looks. I'm dying! What a handsome poppet! Master, do you take commissions? Can I order one that looks exactly the same? We can talk about pricing. Sam even reached out to try to pet him, unable to resist. Shalian immediately pulled him back into his arms. The ghosts were visibly miffed. So stingy, treasuring him so highly that you won't even let us touch. Shalian held Hua Cheng even tighter, and his hand smoothed his hair. Of course, this is my puppet. Besides, he's got quite the temper. No one but me can touch him. Otherwise, he gets very angry. Hua Cheng quirked an eyebrow, and the ghosts laughed out loud. My, he can even raise his brows. He's got attitude. Just then, a voice spoke up. I don't think that's it. Shalian turned to look, and the one who had spoken was Demon of the Swift Life-Extinguishing Blade. The human scent on you is a little too heavy, he accused. He's a puppet master, it's understandable, the crowd of ghosts chided him. He's got ghost chi on him too. No, look closer, everyone, Demon of the Swift Life-Extinguishing Blade countered. The ghost chi on this puppet master doesn't feel like it's being emitted from within. It feels more like it's only stained on the outside. Hold him gently like hamburger. His surface coat of ghost chi should have been enough in most circumstances, but even the tiniest details would be brought under scrutiny once he became the focus of a whole crowd of ghosts. Much like Heaven's Eye, Demon of the Swift Life-Extinguishing Blade didn't look like he was very smart at first, and Shalian had taken him for an insignificant minor character. Who knew he wasn't so easy to deceive? You seem like you're well versed on this topic, so is there anything concrete to what you're saying? A ghost piped up. How do we tell? Got any ideas? Yes, Demon of the Swift Life-Extinguishing Blade replied. There is a tool that can determine what he is. He pulled an item from his sleeve, and the crowd of ghosts instantly backed away the moment they saw it. The fuck? You have a talisman on you? You sure you're not the heavenly official mixed in here? No, I killed some cultivator on the way here and took their belongings, that's all, Demon of the Swift Life-Extinguishing Blade earnestly explained. These are just typical talismans for dealing with little ghosts and irrelevant minions. Since you all made it here, I'm sure these won't harm you. Watch. He slapped a talisman on his own forehead. Crackle, crackle. The talisman burned up into nothing but a wisp of black smoke, leaving a black burn mark on his forehead. Even though this talisman can't harm me, it can still leave a mark on my face, Demon of the Swift Life-Extinguishing Blade said. So this proves my identity, right? Paper talismans could be used to defeat or ward off nefarious creatures, so they could also be used to determine whether a person was, in fact, a person. Demon of the Swift Life-Extinguishing Blade pointed at Shalian. If you're really a puppet master, then stick this talisman on your forehead. We'll see whether it leaves a mark. While Shalian didn't show any reaction, his mind was spinning rapidly. However, Hua Cheng whispered, Don't worry, Gaga. Shalian knew that this meant Hua Cheng was confident he could handle things. He put Hua Cheng down and calmly approached, then took the talisman and pressed it to his forehead. Crackle, crackle. The talisman burned up into a wisp of black smoke. However, Shalian's forehead was still unmarred after the smoke had cleared, with not a trace left behind. This proves that the ghost chi on him was only on the surface. While that cloaked figure with crossed arms remained where he stood, hundreds of ghosts surrounded Shalian and Hua Cheng, yelling and howling and ready to unleash all sorts of bizarre weapons. However, they were repelled by an invisible barrier. The crowd of ghosts was left stunned. Well, pretty skilled, aren't you? Shalian shrugged. I didn't do anything. Hua Cheng had been standing behind him, but now he approached with his hands clasped behind his back. You ignorant rubes, why do you look so surprised? And you're a man of the world, baby and you're a man of the world, baby ghost? It ain't a lie that he didn't have ghost chi on him. Just who are you? Declare your identity now. What a gaggle of fools. Of course there's nothing of the sort on his body, because I'm the real puppet master, Hua Chung answered. As he spoke, the crowd of ghosts sensed an exceedingly sinister chill blow past them. It was like the entire field had frozen over. Despite their own bodies' ghostly coldness, they still shuddered. What? What's going on? Giving you a taste of the world, that's all, Hua Chung said. He rescinded his aura, and the crowd of ghosts finally stopped shivering. If you're the puppet master and he's also a puppet master, then who's the real one? Demon of the Swift Life Extinguishing Blade asked without trepidation. No, it can't be him. So what kind of creature is he? Before Hua Chung responded, Shalian smiled and explained. Obviously, the kind that belongs to him. Get ready. This is about to get kinky real quick. Shalian saying he belongs to Hua Chung. And then who's flying the plane, literally? The crowd of ghosts were befuddled for a moment, then it finally dawned on them. So it's the opposite? He's the master and you're the puppet? Demon of the Swift Life Extinguishing Blade was suspicious. Then why did you say you were the puppet master? Why did you lie? Hua Chung smiled. Because I thought it'd be fun. Shalian smiled too. That's right, master having fun is the most important reason in the world. After the lady ghosts got over their initial shock, they tucked away their long claws and tongues and started circling around Shalian anew, only now it was to examine him. For some reason, the ghost woman's commentary took on a completely different flavor from their observation of Hua Chung. Somehow, they were even bolder. So this little Gaga is the real puppet. Ah yeah, I like this age better. Now I want one even more. Are you sure you don't take commissions? Thank you for your compliments, Shalian replied evenly, but I'm actually very old. This material is human skin, right? The treatment is done quite cleanly. There isn't even of that stinking rancid man musk that's usually on those burly brutes. Master, how do you maintain him? Do you use perfume? Confirmed, Shalian does not have musky man musk. Orion, yes. It's human skin, Shalian confirmed. No perfume, just bathe frequently and drink lots of water. Wow, feels like this puppet can do lots of things. All sorts of things. His face and body both look pretty good, eh? The feel of his skin is nice too. But he's a little skinny. I wonder if there'll be any meat on there after stripping off all his clothes. He. Shalian had maintained a polite and humble smile to the point, but his brows twitched when he saw that some of the lady ghosts were actually coming closer to feel his chest, their eyes glinting. Hua Chung pressed two of his fingers together and lightly swung them upward. The circle of both youthful and wizened hands that had been closing in was flung back. Shalian quickly crouched behind Hua Chung to hide, much to the annoyance of the ghost women. What, are you going to say that your puppet also has a bad temper and doesn't like other people touching him? He looks nice. Hua Chung reached out and lifted Shalian's chin. His temper is certainly nice, but mine is bad. No one but me can touch the things I love. Shalian followed along and obediently raised his head, holding back his laughter so hard that his belly hurt. Still, he was very cooperative and gazed into Hua Chung's eyes. No, Master's temperature is very nice too, he said earnestly. Hua Chung laughed as well, looking very pleased. The two went back and forth, singing the same tune and getting quite into their roles, but another ghost interrupted. I still think the human scent on him is too strong. What more do you want to do then? The lady ghost questioned. I heard puppets made of skin aren't stuffed with real flesh, so they won't bleed if they get stabbed. A ghost said, Let me stab 'em with a blade and see. But before he finished his thought, a death glare frightened him into silence. Try touching him, I dare you, Hua Chung warned frigidly. Do you think I would so easily allow you lot to touch my heart's dearest treasure? Hua Chung British? You lot? My heart's dearest treasure. Yes, RA is drawing. Says, I love how they both got possessive over each other. I love how they so quickly slipped into the role play. My heart's dearest treasure, and no one but me can touch the things I love. Yes, Kate. Kate says Hua Chung calling Shailian his heart's dearest treasure, and Shailian still thinks he has a beloved. Earlier, the crowd of ghosts had been pushed back by the power of his aura alone. They were even more scared to make any rash moves now that he was making direct verbal threats. Without realizing it, they had backed away and vacated a large area around them. Demon of the Swift Life-Extinguishing Blade had started this, but he was actually the first to try smoothing things over when he saw they were going downhill. Please don't be angry. Puppet Master, we haven't even entered the boundaries of Mount Tonglu. We can talk more once we're inside. Let's not start squabbling among ourselves now. Look at the picture! Oh my god. Shailian's way too into it. He's way too into it. Annika says they're having too much fun with it. They literally are. Hua Chung's gaze swung to the side. Rather than harassing my puppet, why not ask why that one still won't remove their cloak? The strange cloaked figure had been standing nearby this entire time and still hadn't removed his cloak, even after the ruckus started. He had been watching with his arms crossed, like he was enjoying the show, acting like he wasn't associated with the hubbub of all. Now that Hua Chung had pointed him out, he couldn't spectate the drama anymore. He had become its star. Demon of the Swift Life-Extinguishing Blade took a step forward. Friend, won't you also remove your cloak and let us see? The cloaked figure remained still for a long time. Just when Shailian was starting to suspect he was preparing to kick up dirt and run away, the cloaked figure extended a hand and pulled off his cloak in one clean motion. Under the cloak was a man. He was somewhat handsome, but overall an ordinary and rather forgettable. If spotted in a crowd, a person like that wouldn't be an eyesore, but they'd be easily forgotten. Their appearance would slip from one's mind the moment they weren't in view. While it seemed to disappoint the ghosts who saw this reveal, grew wary. Obviously a fake face, Hua Chung said, so that Shailian could hear. He nodded in agreement. When heavenly officials or ghosts of renown had business to do in the mortal realm, they'd sometimes create a fake face to avoid being inconvenienced by their real form. The most important element of this transformation was looking ordinary. It didn't matter whether it came out attractive, as long as it was plain enough to ensure that onlookers would forget the face the moment they turned away. That it would disappear from their mind, no matter how long they stared. The transformation was a success. The cloaked figure's face was perfectly matched the key component of such a transformation, which meant it was probably not his real appearance. His identity remained unknown. Demon of the Swift Life-Extinguishing Blade handed him a talisman. The cloaked figure took it and stuck it to his forehead without hesitation. Crackle, crackle, smoke, and then a mark. It seemed he was also a ghost, not a human. After all this ruckus, the crowd was growing agitated. So, is there actually a heavenly official among us or not? Who brought this up in the first place? You better not be wrong. Demon of the Swift Life-Extinguishing Blade raised his hand in appeasement. I was the first to notice, but it's true. I definitely smelled a heavenly official. Ah! He screamed and toppled over mid-sentence. Startled, Shailian rushed forward and found that he had been pierced through the abdomen, leaving a fresh, bloody hole. There was a faint but unmistakable residue on the wound. It was the kind of holy light that could only come from a heavenly official. The crowd of ghosts was shocked. Look at his wound! One yelled. There really is a heavenly official among us. Demon of the swift life-extinguishing blade covered the bloody hole with one hand and cried in terror, "Everyone watch out! They want to obliterate us!" The crowd of ghosts lost their mind in terror. In an uproar, they all raised their weapons, ready to face enemies from any direction, yelling, "Who is it? Who wants to wipe us out? Where are you hiding?" It's just as I thought. The ones who give themselves such ridiculous titles are always the first to go down. That was what flashed through Shalian's mind when the demon of the swift life-extinguishing blade fell. Once the initial shock wore off, Shalian shouted, "Everyone saw just now, right? You were watching my master and me the entire time. We didn't do anything." As he spoke, he shot a look at the cloaked figure. The cloaked figure also raised a hand, and his voice was low and quiet. "Same." Shalian bent down to check the demon of the swift life-extinguishing blade's injury. "It's a sword wound," he stated. "Whoever's using a sword right now is..." When he turned his head, he was struck speechless. It looked like the sword wasn't just the most popular weapon in the mortal and heavenly realms, but in the ghost realms as well. Of the 400-some ghost presents, at least 300 wielded swords. They had innumerable suspects. Local Rogue says, "The fact some of us thought it was Yin Yu says a lot, unfortunately." Shalian cleared his throat. "If only there were more talismans we could use, like the other ones earlier. Then we wouldn't have to worry about who's who." This was just an offhand comment, of course. He was trying to make himself sound helpful. If some of his heavenly colleagues really were infiltrating this crowd, he certainly didn't want to help identify them. Luckily, there was no way this demon of the Swiftblade individual had that many talismans at the ready. Yet unexpectedly, as soon as Shalian made his comment, Demon of the Swift Life-Extinguishing Blade actually did produce several thick stacks of talismans. "Oh, I do have more!" ... Shalian couldn't help but want to take a look behind the creature's back. "Where exactly did you pull those from?" "That's not important," Demon of the Swift Life-Extinguishing Blade said. "No, it's very important," Shalian said. "One normally doesn't carry such a heavy burden on the road. Those stacks are heavy enough to be hurled like bricks to kill people. How many cultivators did you kill?" Demon of the Swift Life-Extinguishing Blade glared at him. "Maybe 20 or so?" No wonder. If every cultivator carried a few dozen talismans with them, then altogether he'd gathered at least a few hundred. The crowd of ghosts were anxious to find out who among them were heavenly officials, so without much ado, they devised a hasty plan. They formed into groups of 2, then each stuck a talisman on their partner's forehead and observed whether the other had a burn mark. However, some small-time ghosts were still a little afraid of the prospect. "Do I actually have to do this? Won't this shatter my spirit?" "Nah, it's exactly like those talismans they were using earlier. The power's weak, so they'll leave a mark at most." "I see." Hua-Chung narrowed his eyes. He seemed to have noticed something. In the crowd of over 400 ghosts, rows and rows of them had now talismans taped on their foreheads, a peculiar and silly sight. However, nothing was happening. The ghosts exchanged looks of dismay. "What's going on?" "Hey, Swiftblade Demon, what kind of cultivators did you kill? Why are these talismans so crappy? They're not working." Shalian had thought things were fishy from the start, and he knitted his brows. He was just about to speak, when a lady ghost next to him pursed her lips and whined. "I'm not doing this anymore. I'm ripping this off. Huh? What's going on? Why can't I get it off?" Several ghost women started shrieking at once. "Me too. Why won't it come off?" "Crap," Hua-Chung warned darkly. "Gaga, get down!" Shalian immediately followed his instruction, and Hua-Chung covered his ears for him. Not far from them, the cloaked figure pulled his cloak over his head and half knelt on the ground. Boom, 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 boom. 6 big booms. Like fireworks exploding, loud rumbles roared to the skies. Shalian could feel waves of violent tremors rippling all from directions. A peculiar, hard-to-describe stench permeated the air. All the talismans exploded. As for the nefarious creatures who had them stuck on their foreheads, the ones with solid bodies had their brains blown out, splattering blood and flesh everywhere. The hollow-bodied ones were blown out of existence entirely, dispersed like black smoke. The mountain bluffs now overlooked a field of howling, wailing survivors. Hua-Chung uncovered Shalian's ears, looking unaffected by the chaos, but Shalian felt slightly alarmed as he rose to his feet. He had inspected those talismans one by one earlier. They were entirely normal exorcism charms. How could they have such a shocking effect? A shredded piece of paper came fluttering down from the smoke-choked sky. Shalian seized it with a swift hand to take a look and instantly figured it out. How cunning. Wei Wuxian was among them. It was a shredded corner from one of the talismans. He might not have noticed it if it hadn't been torn, but it had 2 layers. On top was a sheet of paper with the most ordinary of spells written on it, but beneath was an extremely thin sheet of charm paper. It had been burned to the point where the spell was no longer recognizable, but it must have been a most vicious and aggressive one indeed. Amidst the billowing, obscuring clouds of dust, many of the remaining ghosts were wailing like someone had used this as a chance to ambush them. Shalian dropped low to the ground as he heard the ghosts shouting, "Wait, the slaughter hasn't started! Why is everyone making their move now? Yeah, didn't we agree that since we're all ghosts, we'd find a way to peacefully cross the mountain?" Eepy Ness, thank you so much for gifting 10 memberships. Oh my gosh. Hey, welcome Moade and Bear Wants to Eat Fish, Tanya and Vez, Nikolai, Sari, Mizu, Choco Pie, Is Very Eclipse, and Loth Kitty. Oh my god, thank you so much, Eepy Ness. That's really, really kind of you. I really appreciate that. That helps out my channel so much. Thank you so much. Eepiness, you are the best. Thank you. That is awesome. Thank you so much. Eepiness says, "Hi, I've always been watching your streams a lot, as well as uploaded vids. I've always wanted to jump in live, but just had the chance today. Please never stop streaming." Oh, thank you so much. I'm glad you could come today. I love streaming. I'm not stopping. I love it. I'll always be streaming. Thank you so much for jumping in and being so kind. I really, really appreciate that. Super, super generous of you. Thank you very, very much. I hope you're enjoying. Thank you. All right. Does anybody have any clues? Anyone think they know what's going on here? Who's behind this? A voice laughed savagely. "Idiots like you deserve to be annihilated in the first round. There's never been any rule about when the slaughter begins. We're all opponents, so obviously the faster you're dealt with, the better. Think I'm gonna warn you before I make my move?" Wait, I'm quitting. We're not in the Tonglu Mountains yet. Can't I back out?" "Where do you think you are? Somewhere you can just enter and leave as you please? Not in the Tonglu Mountains yet, you say? Take a good look around." The clouds of smoke and dust began to clear, and once the ghosts could see, they were all mortified. Huh? How did this happen? It wasn't just them. Even Shalian was a little stunned by the sight before him. When they first arrived, there had been a tall mountain bluff blocking the road ahead, and it could not be bypassed. But now, somehow, the mountain had disappeared. No, it didn't disappear. It migrated behind them. It seemed they had crossed the boundary of Mount Tonglu without realizing it. Earlier, Shalian had asked Hua Cheng if Mount Tonglu had any landmarks, and now he understood why Hua Cheng had replied that the existing landmarks were not to be trusted. It was because those landmarks could move around on their own, like mischievous children playing pranks. "I gotta see just what this puppet is made of," a voice suddenly said from behind Shalian in a sneering tone. "Or perhaps you're really something else." It was Demon of the Swift Life-Extinguishing Blade. Shalian whirled around, yet before Royer could even fly out, a chilling light flashed. Demon of the Swift Life-Extinguishing Blade didn't even have the chance to scream before he was slashed in half at the waist. Shalian rushed over. Sure enough, he had been chopped cleanly in two and couldn't be deader. Shalian looked up and saw that the one who had struck was the strange cloaked figure. The cloaked man slowly slid his sword back into his sheath as he walked over with steady, confident steps. Shalian felt that the man and the way he walked were both somewhat familiar and straightened up. And you are, sir? The man smirked and gave a low chuckle in response. He seemed about to answer, but he suddenly bent down instead. The unexpected action set off alarm bells in Shalian's head. He watched the man intently, preparing for any surprise attacks. However, the man only circled his arms around the slender waist of two lady ghosts. Are my ladies all right? ... Shalian was struck speechless. The two lady ghosts were both rather attractive. Because they didn't wield swords, they hadn't taken part in the talisman test and thus had escaped disaster. Oh my gosh. Sorry. Nevertheless, the shockwave from the blast had knocked them out. Feeling themselves embraced in someone's arms and addressed with such passion, they languidly came around with gratitude in their hearts. I'm all right, thanks. But before those thanks fully left their lips, the two lady ghosts' faces changed abruptly. They shoved the strange cloaked figure away. Get out of here! The two quickly scrambled off. Even after being slapped twice, the man didn't seem annoyed. He only seemed confused as he stroked his chin and wrinkled his brow. That can't be right. This face isn't that ugly. ... Although he was still in disguise, Shalian already knew who he was. General Pei, why are you here? The man turned to him and smiled. He swept a hand across his face and revealed his true appearance. It was indeed Pei Ming. Kate says, I love Pei Ming in his comic relief side character era, right? Also, Leo, that sounds really nice. And yes, someone said Pei Fling. Incredible. Local Rogue says, I love how quickly Pei Ming is recognized for his flirting. Right? Yes, Orion, yes. I love how he hits on everyone. The man turned to him and smiled. He swept a hand across his face and revealed his true appearance. It was indeed Pei Ming. Because the Heavenly Emperor asked me to give your highness a hand, of course. Really? Shalian said. Thank you, thank you. So very sorry for your trouble then. It's quite dangerous here, as you can see. Gaga, there's no need to be so grateful. He obviously negotiated some hefty rewards from Jun Wu, Hua Chung said. Pei Ming walked over and stopped in front of Hua Chung. Then he crouched down and reached out to measure his current height, laughing as he did. Do my eyes deceive me? Is this my Lord Crimson Rain-sought flower? One certainly changes for the better with time. So what did you eat to grow backwards? Ha! Only a single ha had left his lips when Shalian flung out his silk bandage. It whipped out so hard that Pei Ming was almost sent flying. He only barely dodged with a backward leap. Your Highness, just how deeply do you treasure Hua Chengju? Can't even take a joke? See, they're getting each other back. Don't you talk to my son ever again. Are you really General Pei? Shalian demanded somberly. Pei Ming patted the sword at his waist, flashing it for him to see. Genuine and authentic, exchange if fake. No exchanges. If fake, refunds only, Shalian said. Gaga, kill it. It's fake, Hua Chung said. Hey! If you really are General Pei, then why did that talisman leave a burn mark on your forehead? Shalian questioned. It's simple, Pei Ming said. It's all thanks to this. He tossed a small item to Shalian. Since he was on the ground, Shalian didn't catch it with his hands. He instead used the tip of his sword to skewer it and bring it up to his eyes. Unnecessarily cool guy shit. Candy? On the tip of his sword, there was a shiny black piece of candy. Pei Ming tossed another into his mouth. Ghost scent candy that I bought from Ghost City. Chew on one and you'll get a mouthful of ghost chi flowing from the inside out. Rather useful when pretending to be an inhuman creature. Shalian twiddled the ghost scent candy in his fingers, amazed. You can buy such magical things in Ghost City? Pei Ming munched on the sweet in his mouth. Ask your Hua Chengzu right next to you. He knows better than anyone that you can buy anything in Ghost City if you know how. The flavor's not bad, your highness. Want to try one? Shalian was curious what ghosts tasted like. He turned to Hua Chung. Maybe we should have gotten some of those ghost-scent candies before we came. However, Hua Cheng took the candy from his hand. Gaga, if you want anything from Ghost City, you need only ask. But don't eat stuff like this. Why? 'Cause I'll just put my tongue in your mouth if you want to taste a ghost. Even though Hua Cheng exerted no power on it, the candy shrieked and dissolved into a wisp of black smoke. Everything in Ghost City is dangerous, he explained. Take this candy, for example. It comes from a shady production mill, and the ingredients are mostly vulgar, puny ghosts of unknown origin. Eating it will damage your health. It's fine, Pei Ming said, sounding unconcerned. They're only for emergencies. It's not like I eat them regularly. And the smell is extremely pungent, Hua Cheng went on. Heavenly officials and mortals can't detect it, but such vulgar ghosts produce a rancid stench. Pei Ming was speechless. Hua Cheng snickered. Now do you understand why those two ghost women told you to get lost? ... It was because of the incredibly vulgar, incredibly foul brand of ghost chi oozing from Pei Ming's body. Shalian cleared his throat softly and made a polite suggestion. General Pei, let's not eat these anymore. Pei Ming pulled out the leftover ghost-scent candies with a dismissive gesture and tossed them away. Fine, but we've only reached the outer edges of Mount Tonglu's territory. As we progress further, we'll find much more powerful nefarious creatures who can tell we're suspicious with a single look. What shall we do then? The lady ghosts had swarmed around Hua Cheng like ducks. No doubt they really liked his scent. The ghost chi that Hua Cheng transferred to Shalian was assuredly of the highest quality, so there was no need to buy ghost scent candies. However, to avoid anyone finding out that the chi was only a surface coat, they might need to press their lips together, like the last time, and have Hua Cheng pass on something more tangible, like air or bodily fluids. Shalian immediately stopped himself from thinking about that any further. I don't know either. I'm just a puppet, he said matter-of-factly. In other words, he would keep up his act. Fine, Your Highness. You'd best keep close to your master, Pei Ming said. Oh, I just missed that. Wait, what just appeared on the screen? Did someone buy something from the shop? Did anybody see what that was? Oh, Chuya sent flowers. Thank you so much, Chuya. Oh, I really appreciate that. Thank you. Oh yeah, also, Sienna, before I forget, I saw your email. I need to double check with our itinerary of when we are going to be in Japan, but I got your email, and I will remember to check in with that. Okay, back to I love how Hua Cheng's scent is so pure and, like, delicious, and it's like, oh, it's of the highest quality. Like, it's, like, we're talking about his cum, like... Okay. Shalian pretended not to hear the last bit and scanned their surroundings, humming. I hadn't imagined casualties would be this devastating from the get-go. The 400-some ghosts that had gathered here originally were almost all dead or injured. Shalian couldn't help but recall the performance Hua Cheng had shown him nights ago. It wasn't an exaggeration. It really was like a gust of wind had blown through and uprooted all the weeds. Only a scattered few dozen had managed to escape this trial alive, and they were in terrible shape. There were severed limbs everywhere, and moaning and groaning all around. Hua Cheng stood before the survivors. Do you understand now what kind of place Mount Tonglu is? And Miss Rosie got your shirt. Oh, awesome! I'm glad that it's super comfy. That makes me so happy. Yay, thank you so much for buying my merch. The ghosts that were fortunate enough to survive didn't dare make a sound. You're on the outer edges right now. If there's still a chance to pull out, Shalian said gently. If you don't want to continue and meet even more frightening things, then stay here and look for a chance to leave. The remaining ghosts intended to do just that. Visual J, thank you for donating. And says, I didn't get an invite to the Vampire Lestat show. Aw, I'm sorry to hear that, Jay. Seeing that Shalian and company didn't plan on wiping them out, they quickly pulled each other up and fled as fast as they could, leaning on each other for support. Watching their retreating backs, Shalian mused, Demon of the Swift Life-Extinguishing Blade was an exaggerated name to be sure, but he was an unexpectedly formidable character, quite brutal. That creature was extremely good at manipulation. He'd stirred the pot from the very start, Pei Ming agreed. He was also quick on his feet. Your Highness, that strike of yours gave him the perfect chance to use his injuries for trickery. Shalian blinked. Wait, my strike? What strike? I didn't unsheath my sword. No? Pei Ming wondered. I meant the stab to his abdomen. If he hadn't whipped everyone into a panic thanks to that little gash stained with your holy light, none of the ghosts would have believed him and stuck those talismans on their foreheads. Shalian was puzzled. To be honest, I thought you had stabbed him, General Pei. Your Highness, do you have some sort of misunderstanding about me? I don't do ambushes or sneak attacks, Pei Ming said. If it wasn't you and it wasn't me, then there was a third heavenly official present? Or perhaps the holy light on that Swiftblade demon's wound isn't what it seems. He turned, ready to inspect and verify again, but Demon of the Swift Life-Extinguishing Blade's corpse was gone. Startled, he demanded, Where's that Swiftblade demon's body? I clearly just slashed him at the waist, Pei Ming replied, blatantly baffled. Gaga, be careful, Hua Cheng said darkly. Within Mount Tonglu's domain, a slayer becomes stronger for each opponent killed. And Demon of the Swift Light-Extinguishing Blade had just slaughtered nearly 400 nefarious creatures. Oh shit! What's it gonna be? What's it gonna be? Ah! Chapter 78! I'm just gonna take an allergy pill. I'll be right back. Orion's Belt, thank you for donating. Orion's Belt says, I'm really loving Demon of the Swift Life-Extinguishing Blade. I can't believe that I have not stuttered once saying that name. Can he come back as the surprise big bad in the final fight? Oh, we shall see. We shall see. Oh yeah, I would like to play Road to Empress. That would be fun. Orion's Belt, I guess we just gotta keep reading, huh? Orion says, dude, TGCF is too long. I can't remember anything from my first read. Dude, me neither. I'm pretty sure I know who he is. The flashback is next book, I think, right? So we've gotten a pretty good chunk of book 5 so far. We've been reading a lot. Local Rogue says it's so hot in Vancouver today, right? Dude, my house has air conditioning, but for some reason my office just still gets so fucking hot. So I put another air conditioner in my office. But I can't have it running while I stream. So like the half an hour before the stream, I turn it on and like close the door in here and just let it get cold. Okay, I think we can read one more chapter. Wow, the next chapter is actually super fucking long. Well, we'll see. It's so hot. Everybody's hot. Yeah, I know, Jade. It's awesome. I love reading it with everyone. Okay. Chapter 78. Ambivalent regrets. The clear-sighted general snaps the hateful sword. The three stood tense and on guard amidst the corpse-strewn field and dissipating black smoke. Now that the tall mountain had migrated behind them, undetected, the path ahead was finally visible. It plunged into the depths of a thick black forest. The strange squawking of crows echoed intermittently within the countless trees, exceedingly frightening. Shalian went on alert and sharpened his senses, and yet at the same time he still unconsciously reached for Hua Cheng's hand. The moment their hands touched, he noticed an alarming sign. Hua Cheng was of course a ghost, but his body temperature was blistering hot, like he had a high fever. Shalian was taken aback. "Sunlong, are you changing back?" he whispered. Although Hua Chung was burning up from his forehead to his fingertips, his expression remained unchanged. Soon. Sometimes I feel like, if I'm in a situation where I'm feeling overwhelmed or embarrassed or stressed, I try to stay completely as calm and, don't let any of it show on my face as possible. And I think Hua Chung is just, the master of that. He never lets anything show on his face. Hua Chung was going to transform back to his true form. Wonderful news, considering their circumstances. However, the lead up to the official return of his old self was inevitably the most critical, perilous time. Making a split-second decision, Shalian cried, "I'll set up an array and shield you!" And he went straight to it. He called forth Roye and had it form a large circle, 12 meters in radius, around Hua Chung. Then he plunged Fang Xin into the earth in front of the circle as the lock on the array's door. Hua Chung sat on the ground to meditate. "Gaga, keep Fang Xin with you for protection. No, this array can't be sloppy. It must be sealed by a bladed weapon that's touched human blood." Before he could finish, he felt something rubbing against him behind his back. When he looked, he was rendered speechless. A tiny silver scimitar was standing upright behind him. It blinked its big silver eye and nuzzled against him with its hilt, as if it was nominating itself for the task. Shalian crouched down. "Ming, why are you like this too?" "That's right. Ming got baby-sized." The infamous scimitar Ming, a long, slender blade, bewitching and wild, had shrunk its size by least half. Its silver eye used to be long and narrow, but now it was big, shining, and round like a child's. So if you've ever seen drawing of cutesy little chibi Ming, know that it's fully canon that he got nerfed into a little chibi baby with a big round eye. As Shalian's comment, it seemed to feel wronged and tried to push its hilt into Shalian's hand with renewed fervor. Pei Ming also crouched to look. "So this is the infamous scimitar Ming?" He looked like he was about to reach out and touch it. Ming changed face in an instant and pointed its blade at him threateningly. Fortunately, Pei Ming pulled away just in time. Otherwise, blood would have certainly spilled. Shalian stroked Ming. Fang Xin is still better suited. Fang Xin remained motionless. Ming had tried so enthusiastically to offer itself up, but was so blatantly rejected. It hopped back to Hua Chung's side, weeping. Hua Chung didn't dare at a single look before he smacked it with a backhanded slap. "What are you crying about? This happens because you're useless. Trash!" Ming fell flat on the ground like a piece of unwanted scrap metal, as if that strike had struck it dead. Tunk! Also, just this is maybe a little bit of a spoiler, but this is Hua Chung talking to himself. He's not just being mean to some spirit. It's Ming is him. When he says that, he's yeah, Gaga doesn't want you because you're useless. Poor Ming. He is abusing himself. Shalian didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Add it to the count! Add it to the count! Laugh or cry! Laugh or cry! He quickly scooped Ming into his arms and stroked it a few times. "Nothing of the sort. Don't listen to him. You're not trash. You're very useful." "Thank you, Caro Ace. Thank you for the little butterfly. Oh, thank you." It matches my shirt. Pei Ming couldn't stand the mood in the circle anymore and stepped out to stand at the boundary, unsheathing his sword once more. Things weren't supposed to be this tense. Who knew we'd run into such an impressive, difficult character right at the start? Your Highness really does have the very best luck. They had made the trip to Mount Tonglu in the first place to eliminate any inhuman candidates who had the potential to become supremes. That meant hunting down all of the most powerful ghosts. Shalian couldn't tell whether this counted as good luck or bad. However, Hua Chung said, Why do you state so matter-of-factly that His Highness's luck is the problem, General Pei? Have you ever considered that the demon of the swift life-extinguishing blade might have been targeting you? Pei Ming laughed out loud. If he were a woman, I'd believe it. He hadn't laughed for long before his expression suddenly changed, and he leapt backwards. As he looked up, blood trickled down his cheek. A bloody cut had appeared on Pei Ming's face. He felt his cheek in disbelief, and his whole palm came away with smeared blood. This was no mere scratch, and although they were on high alert, Shalian didn't sense any killing intent directed toward him at all. He was unharmed. And so, he said truthfully, it seems it really is coming for you, General Pei. Pei Ming was about to speak, but once more he heard the sound of a sharp blade slashing through the air. This time he was ready and swung his sword, and the strike found its mark. A figure appeared, hanging in midair, then split in half from the slash and fell to the ground with a thud, upper and lower body now separated. Its eyes were gloomy and vicious as it glared intently at Pei Ming. It was Demon of the Swift Life-Extinguishing Blade! Pei Ming walked over and stepped on the demon's chest, the tip of his sword pointed at the creature's throat. What are you? This being had claimed to be a spirit formed from the blade of an executioner. If that was true, then he should have shown his true form and ended this ridiculous charade after Pei Ming cut him in half. What kind of blade could still act with such arrogance, even after getting snapped in two? Suddenly, Demon of the Swift Life-Extinguishing Blade's eyes bulged, and he sneered. He reached up and snapped Pei Ming's sword with his bare hands. Clang! Pei Ming's eyes went wide, and it wasn't just him. Even Shalian reacted this time. Pei Ming was, at the very least, a formally ascended martial god. Even though he was trapped within Mount Tonglu's boundary, and his spiritual powers had been suppressed to the bare minimum, his spiritual device shouldn't have been broken so easily. Demon of the Swift Life-Extinguishing Blade gave a resounding laugh. I can't believe you'd use such a trashy sword! With his weapon broken, Pei Ming resorted to using his fists. But with a slap of his hand on the ground, Swift Life-Extinguishing Blade launched himself into the air. Pressing the fingers of his hands together, he shot out a blast from his palm. A bright, chilling, metallic light flashed on the edges of its blast and hurled past. It was a gust of power with a razor's edge. It seemed that the creature's true form really was some sort of sharp, bladed weapon. Shalian stood up and made to leave the circle to help, but was stopped by Hua Cheng. Thank you so much, Chuya, for sending sparkles. Thank you. And, oh, I missed your other one. Thank you so much. Thank you, Chuya. I appreciate it. Shalian stood up and made to leave the circle to help, but was stopped by Hua Cheng. Gaga, watch closely, he said with a low voice. Pei Ming shouted to him as well. No need to interfere! If the esteemed martial god of the north couldn't even defeat a lowly ghost blade on the outer edges of Mount Tonglu, how could he live with himself? Still, even with only an upper half, the swift blade demon was extremely agile. No matter where Pei Ming struck, it seemed to predict his every move, which made Pei Ming's chances look rather poor. Hundreds of moves later, the swift blade demon had inflicted dozens of deep wounds on Pei Ming. Shalian couldn't watch anymore and called out, General Pei, come back into the circle! The Sea Bear Circle. Pei Ming's expression was growing grimmer and grimmer. He refused to retreat, and Shalian couldn't simply jump into the fight to make it 2 against 1. Some martial gods would find it humiliating to require help in a one-on-one duel. General Pei, come back! There's something weird going on, can't you tell? Shalian tried again. This creature knows your sword technique and moves too well. Naturally, Pei Ming had also noticed. He just couldn't believe it yet. But since Shalian had seen it while observing from afar, he had to accept it even if he didn't want to. Shalian pulled Fang Xin out of the ground and opened a small gap in the array. Pei Ming took the chance to leap back into the protective circle, looking extremely upset. Shalian plugged Fang Xin back in. General Pei, aren't you going to pick up your broken spiritual weapon? Pei Ming wiped away the blood on his forehead. That's not a spiritual weapon, he replied darkly. It's just a decent sword I grabbed at random. Hearing this, Shalian sighed a breath of relief. While any sword Pei Ming randomly picked from his collection would still be a fairly valuable tool, it couldn't compare to a real spiritual weapon. Why didn't General Pei bring his spiritual weapon when coming here? He asked. I haven't forged one, Pei Ming replied. Shalian found that even more amazing. Why not? Martial gods typically forged their favorite weapons into a spiritual device, which was much like adding wings to a tiger. Pei Ming had no answer for him, and Demon of the Swift Life Extinguishing Blade scoffed. That's obvious. It's because his best sword no longer exists. Pei Ming frowned. Who are you exactly? You're not asking what he is anymore? Shalian asked. Demon of the Swift Life Extinguishing Blade humphed again. Who am I? Ha! Pei Ming, when you snapped me in two with a blast from your palm, did you ever expect this day would come? Shalian's eyes widened. General Pei, do you know him? It's time to remember the 4 famous tales. Thank you, Chuya. Aw, thank you so much, Chuya. Yay! Thank you. Does anyone remember what Pei Ming's famous tale was? The general who broke his sword. That's right. That's right. Demon of the Swift Life Extinguishing Blade humphed again. Who am I? Ha! Pei Ming, when you snapped me in two with a blast from your palm, did you ever expect this day would come? Shalian's eyes widened. General Pei, do you know him? Pei Ming pondered for a while, and his expression grew more and more solemn. Finally, he hazarded a guess. You're Ming Guang? Demon of the Swift Life Extinguishing Blade's smile faded at the mention of that name. He no longer looked like that common, puny little ghost from earlier. He's Ming Guang? Shalian questioned. General Pei, isn't General Ming Guang your title? In an instant, countless possible stories of fraud and substitution flashed through his mind. They weren't outlandish assumptions, considering that there was now precedent in the heavens. He couldn't help but think, is this another Earthmaster Yi? Pei Ming seemed to see through his worries. While covering his wounds with a hand, he said, Your Highness, what are you thinking? I already told you I'm the genuine, authentic General Pei. I'm the real thing. Then why did you call him Ming Guang? Shalian demanded. Because his name is Ming Guang. It's the name I came up with. He's my sword. Shalian made a noise of understanding. Could you be the general who snapped his sword? That's right, Pei Ming replied. Ming Guang was my sword when I was a mortal, and centuries ago, I snapped it with my own hands. No wonder. No wonder Demon of the Swift Life Extinguishing Blade, it finally happened, knew Pei Ming's sword techniques well enough that it was like he could predict every move. He was the sword that Pei Ming had wielded as he won countless victories from north to south, so he naturally knew Pei Ming's technique inside and out. And no wonder that even when he was slashed in two, he could still move so easily, like the injury had no effect on him whatsoever. It was because he had already been snapped in half. So that gash from before was from stabbing himself, Shalian said. Then the holy light on his wound was... My own, Pei Ming said. Back then, I ascended as soon as I snapped him in half. I suppose that must have been when the light stained him, and it can't be cleaned away. Demon of the Swift Life Extinguishing Blade, no, Ming Guang, started using his hand as a sword and began to slash at Feng Xin. His expression was gloomy, like he was visualizing attacking Pei Ming himself. Shalian couldn't help but ask more about this whole thing. General Pei, why does your sword resent you so much? What did you do to it? What's the story behind the general who snapped his sword? Pei Ming felt around for his pill bottle. Some raggedy story from hundreds of years ago. What's the point of talking about it now? Let's find a way to beat him first. Although Royer formed the protection circle, half the array would collapse if Fang Xin was cut down. It was similar to breaking the lock on a door. Shalian glanced behind him and saw that Hua Cheng had entered a meditative state. His eyes were shut tight, and he seemed totally unaware of the outside world. Shalian was slightly reassured at the sight. Pei Ming's voice pulled him back. Your Highness, will your sword hold? Shalian turned back. I don't know. Fang Xin's old after all. That's all right, Pei Ming said. Ming Guang's pretty old too. Shalian sighed in relief. Then as long as he doesn't call for help, we should be able to hang on for a Before he could finish, heavy footsteps sounded from within the forest. A huge, burly, hideous man with dark skin appeared. The burly man wore broken leather armor and was abnormally tall. The moment they saw him, both Shalian and Pei Ming felt a drop of cold sweat drip off of them. Who could it be? The burly man had noticed someone madly chopping at a sword with his bare hands. He seemed to find the sight surprising, so he walked over to investigate. Shalian and Pei Ming both covered their faces with their hands and turned around. As for Ming Guang, when he noticed a giant corpse approaching who looked quite physically strong, he called out to him. Hey, big guy, give me a hand! Help me knock away this sword and break the array. I'll split the heads inside with you! But the burly man likely hadn't been a citizen of the Central Plains in life, and he hadn't died a ghost of the Central Plains, which meant a language barrier. He didn't seem to understand what had been said, and shouted something incomprehensible in reply. The two shouted at each other for a while, but nothing was achieved, aside from some new veins popping on both their foreheads. Pei Ming did his best to look natural and suave while keeping his face covered. Your Highness, what's that brute yelling about? He whispered. He thinks your sword is trying to provoke him, so he got mad. He's telling him to kneel and beg for mercy, lest he beat him to death. Shalian whispered back. Oh, good, Pei Ming said. Hope they start fighting each other soon. But the giant man heard their whispers and turned to stare, his brow wrinkling as he scrutinized them. Shalian and Pei Ming tightened the hands covering their faces, no longer able to care about appearing natural. But the burly man still recognized them. He stamped his foot, and the entire ground quaked with it. It's you, scrap-collecting cultivator, Pei Shou's boss! He roared. Since then they had been recognized. The two dropped their hands. After some hesitation, Shalian replied with forced warmth in the Banyue tongue. General Como! Please calm down. He's back! The peculiar burly man was Como, who had escaped his seal after Mount Tonglu's tremors aroused millions of ghosts. He had been captured initially by Shalian, and he'd seen Pei Ming later standing next to Pei Shou during his trial. His eyes went red at the sight of his enemies, and he kicked at Fang Xin without another word. The blow knocked the sword off center by a few centimeters. Ming Guang clapped and cheered and kept shooting out blast after blast. Divine! Seeing that Fang Xin was shaking harder and harder under their combined attacks, Shalian felt Hua Cheng's forehead, but his hand shrank back from the heat. What should we do? Shalian needed to shield Hua Cheng with the array and couldn't be distracted. And Pei Ming posed no threat at all to the weapon, which he shared such a strange familiarity. Just then, they heard Ming Guang cuss. You bloody savage! Can you not smash where I'm smashing? You hit my hand! Como ignored him completely. Noticing the friction between the two, Shalian grabbed hold of Pei Ming. General Pei, Como won't believe that you mean him no harm, and you will keep coming after you. Quick, press the fingers of both your hands together, cross your wrists above your head, then press downward from your head before opening your arms. This is the hand gesture his people use to ask for truce. Either way, just show him your goodwill and make him stop for now. Pei Ming was bewildered. Huh? You know full well that the resentment Como and Ming Guang have for me isn't just some small misunderstanding. How could they be pacified with a simple hand gesture? But Shalian paid him no mind and grabbed hold of him. Come, do it with me to make him stop! Pei Ming's hand was injured. The corners of his lips tightened as Shalian grabbed him. Even so, he was about to do as instructed, but Ming Guang had already heard everything they said. He leapt in front of Como, then crossed his hands above his head and slid his arms down before opening them. He smirked smugly at the two in the circle. As if I'd let you. When Como saw that gesture, however, his eyes bulged, and thick veins surfaced on his dark skin. He opened his palm and swung his hand down like an iron cattail leaf fan. sending Mingguang flying through the air. As his slap flew, neither Mingguang nor Pei Ming understood what had happened. It was only a moment later that it dawned on Pei Ming, and he turned to Shay Lian. Your Highness, I thought Mingguang was cunning. I hadn't imagined you would be more cunning than him. I'm impressed. Shay Lian wiped away his cold sweat. It's nothing. Much ashamed. Although it seemed like his instructions were for Pei Ming, they were actually intended for Mingguang. When Mingguang overheard, he would obviously rush to show Kumo goodwill first and obstruct their plan. However, the gesture that Shay Lian described didn't really call for a truce. It was an insult. Indeed, it was the rudest provocation in Banyue culture, like a combination of chop off your shitty head, fuck your wife, murder your whole family, and level your ancestors' graves. 4 power attacks all at once. How could Kumo not be outraged? Under any other circumstance, Mingguang might have been suspicious of Shay Lian's words, but because the situation was dire and Pei Ming had almost raised his arms, Mingguang didn't take the time to think carefully and was easily deceived. That's so good. Mingguang snapped out of it when Kumo sent him flying. He wanted to fix the situation, but they still couldn't communicate, and his instinctive reaction was to yell, so it looked even more like he was cursing Kumo. He tried a few other hand gestures, like a thumbs up, but that was hardly convincing at that point. It simply looked like someone begging for mercy by faking goodwill after they'd just hurled the most malicious, vulgar abuse. It didn't feel sincere at all, and he got pounded a few more times for the effort. Kumo also knew some rough Central Plains profanities, and he swore as he struck, so Mingguang was starting to get angry himself. They continued to escalate, beating each other harder and harder. Pei Ming almost wanted to cheer them on. Mingguang glanced over, incredibly irritated. He waved a hand in front of Kumo, then he pointed at himself, then at Shay Lian and Pei Ming inside the circle, before doing that hand-crossing gesture again. Kumo actually stopped and asked with a frown, Are you directing that at me or them? Oh no, Shay Lian thought, but didn't dare speak rashly. He couldn't be sure how to best influence Kumo, seeing that there might be a way to turn this around. Mingguang tried harder. He turned to Pei Ming to repeat the gesture with a savage face. But when he turned back to Kumo, he immediately put on a calm expression. Matching the emotions in his eyes to his repeated actions, Kumo finally understood what he was saying. They had the same enemies! Once they were unified, Mingguang and Kumo came charging at the array once more. Shay Lian's mind whirled rapidly. He inhaled deeply, then hollered at the top of his lungs in the Banyue tongue, General Pei Jr., Banyue! At the sound of those 2 names, Kumo stopped abruptly and demanded sharply, Are they nearby too? Shay Lian didn't answer, just focused on shouting, General Pei Jr., Banyue, Kumo is here, don't come close, hurry and run away, and don't come back! This naturally made Kumo think those 2 were nearby and that Shay Lian was telling them to flee. His fury flared. As if I'd let you! With that, he rushed off. Man, Shay Lian's just so sneaky. Kate says, I love that Shay Lian knows how to swear in other languages. Yes, me too. Hey, big guy, Mingguang yelled. What are you running for? He must be lying. Come back. But Kumo was long gone. Mingguang stomped his foot in anger. Dumbass! Shay Lian wiped his cold sweat away for the 2nd time and thought sincerely. Learning another language is infinitely beneficial throughout your life. Seeing that Mingguang was about to attack Fang Xin again, he raised his hand. Stop! Keep this up, and we won't be so nice. And how are you being nice to me now? Mingguang countered. Did you forget something? Shay Lian asked. Forget what? Pei Ming looked like he wanted to say something, but he stopped and pulled something out from behind him. How could you forget something so important? The object he'd dragged out was the legs of Mingguang's lower half. The moment Mingguang saw them, his expression froze. Huh? My lower body! This whole time he'd been using his hands in place of feet, using his arms to prop himself up and jump around. It seemed he'd gotten used to moving that way without realizing it, and had completely forgotten that he hadn't yet retrieved the rest of his body. While he and Kumo were fighting, Pei Ming took the chance to leave the circle and dragged his abandoned immobile lower half into the boundary. You better not do anything unnecessary, Pei Ming threatened. The thing was, this threat was obviously very awkward. If the hostage were a complete person, Pei Ming could sink his fingers into their neck or skull while making such a threat. The resulting picture would be much more effective at showing that he wasn't bluffing. However, they only had the lower half of the man's body on hand. Where could his hands go that could still strike fear without being awkward? Touch his balls! Pei Ming couldn't think of anything, so he simply stepped on one of the legs. Are you shitting me? Bing Guang said. Xie Lian also didn't think this looked like much of a threat, and he courteously suggested, General Pei, stepping on a leg isn't terribly convincing. Could you maybe make him think you got him by, something more, critical? Your Highness, don't say something like that so lightly, Pei Ming said. Do you think I'd choose to step on a leg if I didn't refuse to do something so classless? Why don't you come and grab him where it hurts? In the end, neither of them was willing to grab that critical place. I'm not joking! Well, oh yeah, I said grab him by the balls, but that's what they're talking about. He didn't actually say grab his balls, but they are actually talking about grabbing his balls. Xie Lian says, can you maybe make him think you've got him by something more critical? Your Highness, don't say something like that so lightly, Pei Ming said. Do you think I'd choose to step on a leg if I didn't refuse to do something so classless? Why don't you come and grab him where it hurts? ... In the end, neither of them was willing to grab that critical place. Never mind, Xie Lian said. Then why don't we do this? After huddling up for a moment, they each grabbed one of Ming Guang's legs. Now this definitely looked much more threatening, and less awkward. Please back off, Xie Lian demanded. Otherwise, your true body might suffer further damage. Ming Guang just sneered. Ha! Did you actually believe my lower half is useless? As soon as he spoke, Xie Lian sensed a murderous aura rapidly crawling up his arm. He immediately tossed away the leg in his grasp. General Pei, watch out! The seemingly dead lower half suddenly swung its legs and kicked out without warning. Pei Ming threw the limbs in his hands just in time and avoided being struck when those swift legs churned up blades of wind. The lower half flipped itself around in the air and landed with a single knee to the ground, then slowly straightened until it stood straight. Local rogue, lol. The moves were clean and impressive, and Xie Lian praised them in spite of himself. Nice! But he immediately changed his tune. Not nice! Not nice indeed. The protection circle that he had so arduously created was made to keep Ming Guang out, but things had now become rather complicated. Even though Ming Guang's upper half was still outside, his lower half was in. Oh my god. Oh no, the sea bear is inside the circle. Pei Ming also realized this. We've been had, he muttered. Some nefarious creatures with bisected bodies could only move if one half was leading. The others could move both parts at will. They originally didn't know which class Ming Guang fell into, but his lower half had been rigid as a corpse, unmoving even when stepped on, and so Pei Ming had thought him to be the former, but it seemed he was only pretending that he couldn't move. Ming Guang was clapping in mirth outside the boundary. That's right, that is what they called inviting a wolf into your home and catching turtles in the pot. The three inside the circle each faced their own impairments. Hua Cheng was meditating with his eyes shut tight. It was a critical moment in his struggle. Pei Ming's sword had long since been broken by Ming Guang. Xie Lian's Fang Xin was acting as the lock to their protection array. The latter two had no weapons to wield. With no other choice, who's he gonna call? Xie Lian called, Ming! Scimitar Ming had been lying on the ground like scrap metal, but it instantly jumped up at Xie Lian's call and flew into his hand. Xie Lian gripped the hilt and swung. Ming Guang's lower half raised a leg and kicked. While it blocked Xie Lian's strike, it was pushed back a couple steps and almost fell outside the protection circle. His upper half watched from the outside, and its expression faltered, now looking rather wary. He clapped his hands, and the lower half returned to its true form, a verdant sword, nearly a meter in length. It boiled with killing intent as it hung in midair. Shalian didn't usually use scimitars, but Ming was agreeable in his hands. He was about to charge forth when Pei Ming spoke up. Your Highness, not to panic you at a time like this, but your Hua Chengju seems to be having a little bit of trouble. Startled, Shalian whirled around. Sure enough, Hua Cheng's brows were even more tightly knit, and the hands that made seals while resting on his knees were shaking. Noticing Shalian's distraction, the broken verdant blade seized the opening to lunge, but Ming slipped out of Shalian's hand on its own and blocked the broken sword mid-attack with a resounding clang. Ming, please hold him off for a bit, Shalian called. Then he crouched in front of Hua Cheng. Why is he like this? What went wrong? Don't look at me, Your Highness, Pei Ming said. I'm not as familiar with the Ghost King as you are. Sunlong, can you hear me? Come out. Stop subjecting yourself to this. Shalian called out to Hua Cheng. Mingguang shouted from outside the circle. A little blade dares block my way? During the previous exchange, the broken sword Mingguang and Ming had already parried countless times within the space of an instant, sending sparks flying. If this had been the normal scimitar Ming, it would have immediately gained the upper hand, but the shrunken Ming facing the longsword Mingguang really did look like a child getting beaten by an adult. Although it was ferocious, it simply wasn't long enough. Its abilities were unavoidably hampered. Things had gotten perilous a few times, and Shalian spared glances while keeping his focus on Hua Cheng. Watch out! After he called out, Ming flopped and flashed, becoming a streaming silver whirlwind that successfully struck the broken sword. The Mingguang outside the circle gave a shout of pain. It must have been a substantial hit. Good, Ming! Shalian praised. Pei Ming spoke up. Wait, Your Highness! I think it got bigger when you complimented it. Shalian looked closely. Really? Seems like it, Pei Ming said. Why don't you try again? It was only some praise, no big deal. And so Shalian said, Very well, Ming, listen closely. You are handsome and carefree, cute and kind, clever and intelligent, gentle and determined, #1 in the world. That is so funny. If you're ever feeling down, just imagine Shalian saying that to you. He trailed off, then stopped entirely. Pei Ming applauded enthusiastically. Outside the circle, Mingguang's expression was one of disbelief. He was as flustered as he was furious. What kind of wicked spell is that? How come I've never heard of it before? Indeed. With every word of praise Shalian sang out, Ming's blade grew a little bit longer. It looked like a 10-year-old child earlier. Then now it was a youth of 14 or 15. The broken sword facing the now-grown Ming was in trouble. It could only awkwardly move left and right, while Ming was growing swifter and more unpredictable. With the way this would end getting clearer, Mingguang made a hand seal. The moment Pei Ming saw, he called out, No good, he transferred all his spiritual power into his lower half. Sure enough, the black aura surrounding the body of the broken blade explosively expanded in size. When Ming struck, it was bounced away by the black aura and plunged into the ground at a slant. Shalian hurried to pull it out. Are you all right? Don't worry, watch this, Pei Ming said, then took Ming from Shalian's hands. Shalian was puzzled, but he suddenly felt cold on his skin. Whap! Pei Ming had pushed the scimitar into his face, the hilt touching his lips. Pei Ming just forced Shalian to kiss Ming. Dot, dot, dot. Shalian removed Ming from his face. His lips were slightly numb from the impact of the cold silver, and he rubbed at them, baffled. General Pei, is there a reason you did that? Of course, an excellent reason, Pei Ming said. Your Highness, please look down. Shalian looked down and was struck speechless. Ming had grown even longer. Mingguang couldn't hold back anymore, and he screamed at them from outside the circle. What the fuck? And what wickedness is that? You might as well use all your tricks at once. Truth be told, I also want to know what caused this, Shalian said. Full of spirit once more, Ming stood tall and lunged at the broken sword Mingguang. Sword and scimitar battled relentlessly in the air. Shalian went back to check on Hua Cheng, and Pei Ming watched Mingguang, who was bent over not far away. All of Mingguang's spiritual power had been transferred to the lower half that was battling Ming, so any threat from his upper half was greatly lessened. They all understood this, and Pei Ming rose to his feet to take him down. However, another series of heavy footfalls came running up at top speed. Kumo had returned. "You cunning Central Plain cultivators!" he cried hatefully. "You lied again! I hope you collect junk for the rest of your life! They weren't nearby at all!" Xiaolian hadn't expected to keep Kumo away for long anyway, but he'd returned earlier than expected, and right at an inconvenient time. Mingguang was overjoyed, and he pointed at Feng Xin. "Big guy, quick! Knock that sword over! Once the array is broken, the ones inside will be helpless!" He didn't need to say anything. Kumo swung his hand down to chop, and Feng Xin was knocked 5 more centimeters. Another chop, another 5 centimeters, another chop, and Feng Xin fell. The protection array had finally been broken. And I think we will end it there for today. What's gonna happen? I love Pei Ming. He's so funny. And just all the dick jokes with Ming is just too good. Ugh. That was fun, wasn't it? Yeah, that was good. Pei Ming is good comic relief. Yeah. I remember the first time I read this, I was like I wasn't, like, the whole idea of like sword spirits and like spirits having like corporal forms and stuff was new to me, so I was having such a hard time trying to figure out how to picture this battle. I was like, is it like actually a blade? Or is it like actually a human? Thank you, Hannah. I will have fun at hockey. I will think about Hualien or Ming getting bigger. Ma Monroe, I'm glad you're liking the reading sessions. So many sword jokes. It's like I'm back reading Shakespeare. Yes. Until next time on Dragon Ball Z. Yeah, I think tomorrow we can do some more reading, right? It'll be good. This is a really good scene. I think there is a picture, not in like a couple pages. Yeah, it's hard to tell. I'm glad you caught the live too, Local Rogue. I love it when you're in the chat. Thanks for coming out and being so funny. Jade says, this reading had me giggling like crazy in front of my family. They were giving me weird looks. Ah, I'm happy. I'm happy to make you laugh. Eepiness says, I love these reading sessions. I always play the vids in the background while eating. Oh, that's awesome. I love to hear that. 7 p.m. Pacific time. Tomorrow, no, it's 5, I think. Oh, I'm glad you like the added commentary, Local Rogue. Wednesday, 5 p.m. Pacific time. 5 will be 5, 6, 7. It will be 8 p.m. Eastern time. Ooh, you got some local chocolate, Night Owl. That would be awesome. All right, guys, I gotta go to hockey, but I will see you guys tomorrow. Thank you for coming to hang out. All right, I love you, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye!